An RCE has been found in Notepad. I'm not making this up, folks. Microsoft has fixed a remote code execution vulnerability in Windows 11 Notepad that allowed attackers to execute programs by tricking users into clicking specially crafted markdown links without displaying any sort of Windows security warnings. The vulnerability affects Windows 11 updated versions of Notepad, which Microsoft enhanced with support for markdown rendering in recent updates. Researchers discovered that attackers could embed malicious links in what appeared to be harmless text files. When a user clicked on these specially crafted markdown links, Windows would execute local or remote programs without triggering any sort of Windows built-in security warnings that normally fire off when dangerous files are about to run. Now, Microsoft patched the flaw as part of its February 2026 Patch Tuesday release, which addressed 58 vulnerabilities across Windows and other Microsoft products. Now, this is really concerning, folks, because Notepad is one of the most trusted and commonly used applications in Windows. I like it because it's about as bare bones as you can get. And frankly, there's no need for it to go outbound to the internet. Well, because of this, users have been conditioned to think that text files are safe, making them more likely to click on the links without any sort of suspicion. So I want to reiterate here, the attack vector relied on Notepad's new Markdown Preview feature, which automatically renders the formatted text in clickable links. Thanks, but no thanks, Microsoft. I'll pass. Again, attackers could distribute malicious text files via email, messaging apps, or file sharing services, and Microsoft didn't disclose whether the vulnerability was actively exploited in the wild before the patch was released. The company recommends that Windows 11 users all install the latest security updates immediately. And again, this just demonstrates what I've been saying all along about adding new features, whether it's markdown support or bolting on AI into an existing product. Security risks will emerge when new features are added to legacy applications that users inherently trust. That's a dangerous combo. All right, moving on to our next story. Since we're talking trash about tech giants shipping vulnerabilities to their users, Apple just released emergency security updates yesterday to address a zero-day vulnerability that's been exploited in what Apple describes as a quote-unquote extremely sophisticated attack against targeted individuals. The vulnerability, tracked as CVE 2026-20700, is a memory corruption issue in dyld, Apple's dynamic link editor. Successful exploitation of this vulnerability allows an attacker with memory write capability to execute arbitrary code on affected devices. You got to understand, folks, ODays and Apple's core system components like dyld are incredibly valuable to attackers because, well, they can affect multiple Apple platforms simultaneously. So with that said, this flaw impacts a ton of different systems. iOS, iPadOS, macOS, Tahoe, tvOS, watchOS, and visionOS. Yeah, I know. So Apple did not disclose who exactly was targeted in the attack or provide any details about the threat actor behind the exploitation, but come on, I think we can all read between the lines here. The company's use of the phrase extremely sophisticated suggests the attacker might be of a nation-state influence, So anyway, Apple users, install the latest updates immediately. Don't dilly-dally, all right? The patches are available for all supported devices running current versions of Apple's operating system. So go patch now. All right, our last story of the day. Back to dissing Microsoft. Cybersecurity researchers have discovered the first known malicious Microsoft Outlook add-in in the wild. This is what security researchers are calling a new supply chain attack vector. The AgreeTo add-in originally was designed to help users manage calendars and share availability through email. Well, it's now been weaponized by unknown attackers who basically claimed the domain associated with the legitimate add-in. Reports show that over 4,000 Microsoft credentials were stolen through fake login pages served directly through the official Microsoft Store. This is the same class of attack that we've previously seen in browser extensions and NPM packages, where a trusted distribution channel ultimately allows content to change after the users have installed it. Now we can add Microsoft add-ins to the ever-growing scope of supply chain attacks. So Here's exactly how it happened, folks. The AgreeTo add-in was last updated by its original developer in December of 2022. When the domain expired, attackers registered it and modified the add-in to redirect users to phishing pages that mimicked Microsoft's login interface. This is the same way Notepad++ was hacked a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Because the add-in remained listed in the official Microsoft store, users had no reason to suspect that the tool had been compromised. Now, Microsoft has since removed the malicious add-in from the store, but yeah, the damage is done, folks. So anyway, if you're in security, listen up. We really got to start paying attention to this critical gap. Unlike traditional software, add-ins, extensions, and even Claudebot skills can now be modified on the server side without pushing updates through official channels, making them particularly attractive targets for supply chain attacks. So, what should you do? Organizations using Microsoft 365 should audit their installed Outlook add-ins and implement policies requiring approval for add-in installations. That would be a good start. Well, that wraps up today's stories, folks. This is Andy Thompson signing off.